The Berlin Wall was a physical barrier that divided the city of Berlin from 1961 to 1989. It was a symbol of the Cold War and the ideological division between the communist East and the capitalist West. The wall was built by the German Democratic Republic GDR to prevent its citizens from fleeing to the West. It was a concrete manifestation of the Iron Curtain that separated the Soviet bloc from the Western democracies. The Berlin Wall was not just a physical barrier, but also a psychological one. It represented the fear and mistrust that existed between the two sides. It was a reminder of the past and a warning for the future. The wall was a source of tension and conflict, but also of resilience and hope. It was a symbol of division, but also of unity. In this video, we will explore the history of the Berlin Wall, its impact on the people of Berlin, and its legacy for the world. We will look at the political, social, and cultural aspects of the wall, and how it shaped the identity of the city and its inhabitants. We will also examine the events that led to the fall of the wall and the reunification of Germany. Join us on this journey through the history of the Berlin Wall, and discover the stories behind this iconic symbol of division. The construction of the Berlin Wall began on August 13, 1961. It was a surprise move by the GDR, which had not consulted with the Soviet Union or its Western allies. The wall was built overnight, using barbed wire, concrete blocks, and guard towers. It divided the city into two parts, East Berlin, which was controlled by the GDR, and West Berlin, which was occupied by the United States, Great Britain, and France. The wall was not just a physical barrier, but also a psychological one. It separated families, friends, and neighbors. It cut off access to jobs, schools, and hospitals. It created a sense of isolation and despair among the people of East Berlin. Many tried to escape to the West, risking their lives in the process. The GDR justified the construction of the wall as a necessary measure to protect its citizens from the fascist influences of the West. It claimed that the wall was an anti-fascist protection barrier that would prevent the infiltration of spies, saboteurs, and terrorists. However, the real reason was to stop the brain drain that was draining the GDR of its most talented and skilled citizens. The construction of the wall was a turning point in the Cold War. It marked the beginning of a new phase of confrontation between the East and the West. It also had a profound impact on the people of Berlin, who were forced to live with the wall for almost 3 decades. The Berlin Wall created two different worlds on either side. In East Berlin, the GDR regime controlled every aspect of life. The economy was centrally planned, and the state owned all the means of production. The media was censored, and dissent was not tolerated. The secret police, known as the Stasi, monitored the population and punished those who opposed the regime. In West Berlin, on the other hand, there was a thriving democracy and a market economy. The city became a symbol of freedom and creativity. It attracted artists, musicians, and intellectuals from all over the world. The West Berliners enjoyed a higher standard of living and more personal freedoms than their counterparts in the East. The wall created a stark contrast between the two sides. On the east side, the buildings were drab and grey, and the streets were empty. On the west side, there were colourful buildings, bustling streets, and vibrant nightlife. The wall became a symbol of the two different systems and the two different ways of life. For the people of East Berlin, the wall was a constant reminder of their lack of freedom and opportunity. They were cut off from the rest of the world and trapped in a system that did not allow them to express themselves or pursue their dreams. Many tried to escape to the West, risking their lives in the process. For the people of West Berlin, the wall was a source of tension and anxiety. They lived in the shadow of the wall, knowing that at any moment, it could become a battleground between the East and the West. They also felt a sense of responsibility towards their fellow citizens in the East, and many supported efforts to bring down the wall and reunite the city. The fall of the Berlin Wall was a historic event that marked the end of the Cold War and the beginning of a new era of cooperation and unity. It was a moment of joy and celebration for the people of Berlin and the world. The fall of the wall was not a sudden event, but the result of a long process of change and transformation. It was preceded by a series of events that weakened the GDR regime and paved the way for the reunification of Germany. One of the key factors was the rise of the Solidarity movement in Poland, which challenged the communist regime and inspired similar movements in other countries. The GDR was also facing economic difficulties and a growing sense of discontent among its citizens. In the summer of 1989, Hungary opened its borders with Austria, allowing East Germans to escape to the West. This triggered a wave of protests in East Germany demanding political reform and freedom of movement. The GDR regime responded with repression and violence, but the protests continued to grow. On November 9, 1989, the GDR government announced that it would allow its citizens to travel to the West. This was a historic moment that marked the end of the wall and the beginning of a new era of freedom and democracy. The fall of the wall was a peaceful event, but it was also a chaotic one. Thousands of people crossed the border, and the scenes of joy and emotion were captured by the media and broadcast around the world. The wall became a symbol of hope and unity, and the people of Berlin celebrated their newfound freedom and the reunification of the city. The Berlin Wall was a symbol of division, but also of resilience and hope. It represented the struggle between freedom and oppression, and the triumph of the human spirit over adversity. The fall of the wall was a victory for democracy and human rights, and a reminder of the power of peaceful protests and civil disobedience. The legacy of the wall is complex and multifaceted. It has had a profound impact on the people of Berlin and the world. It has shaped the identity of the city and its inhabitants and influenced the course of history. For the people of Berlin, the wall is a reminder of the past and a warning for the future. It is a symbol of the city's resilience and determination to overcome adversity. It is also a source of pride and identity, and a reminder of the importance of freedom and democracy. For the world, the wall is a symbol of the Cold War and the struggle between communism and capitalism. It is also a symbol of the power of the people to bring about change and transform the world. The fall of the wall inspired similar movements in other countries, and paved the way for the reunification of Germany and the end of the Cold War. Today, the Berlin Wall is a tourist attraction and a memorial to the victims of the Cold War. It is also a symbol of hope and unity, and a reminder of the importance of freedom and democracy. The legacy of the wall will continue to inspire future generations to fight for their rights and for a better world.